Yep.
Call to order the Schenectady Urban Renewal Agency. First item is the acceptance of the minutes from the September 8th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kosher, second. King, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes stand adopted. Next item, resolution 2015-12, transfer of 866 Eastern Avenue to the City of Schenectady. Entertain a motion.
Move it.
Moved, second by Mr. Blvd. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution stands adopted. Next item is resolution 2015-13, the adoption of our 2016 operating budget.
So moved.
Do they have any questions? Moved, second. Mr. Ferrari, second. And so, any questions on the proposed expenditure of $3,990? Entertain a motion to approve it. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The budget stands adopted. Any other business to come before the agency?
Motion adjourned.
Moved by Mr. Kosher, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
The agency stands adjourned. Thank you.
Started there and moved you up on
I'm going to die. All right, thank you.
That is the most efficient committee in the entire city, you realize. What a great budget, too. $3,000 budget. How do you like that?
What is this for?
39.
4,000.
9-2.
Let's take it away. Buy our laptops.
Okay, we're going to finance. Call the Finance Committee to order and just calling for a public hearing on October 13th for our 2016 proposed budget, which we've already done, right?
Just a reminder.
Just a reminder for everyone that that will happen. Is there anything else to come before the Finance Committee today?
Motion adjourned.
Should we recess because we have budget meeting after this, or,
Good, I guess.
Yeah.
right?
Yes, budget meetings
So-
are individual meetings on their own. They've been
Okay, so we
announced
should
and-
adjourn.
Yeah.
All right,
So I
then
can
I'll
make a
move
motion.
to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Let's go to public service and utilities next.
Calling to order public service and utilities. We have one item on the agenda. It's a discussion about the sidewalk program in the city.
Yes, Mr. Folger and myself met with a neighborhood group. They were concerned, I know it's come up to us at other times about sidewalks, the problems with sidewalks. We all realize it's the homeowner's responsibility, but it does become very costly. So I know Mr. Wallace, he's here. You talked one time, Chris, about either a special tax or, and what kind of fee, could you give us a little background on what kind of reaction you got to that when you brought that up?
One of the things that I had discussed previously, I think individually, not really in this kind of a forum, was the special assessment. To use that, the city was built using special assessments. The city, when it was in areas such as Woodlawn is right now, when we had dirt streets and the residents of that street wanted a fully paved street with sub-base curbs and sidewalks, they petitioned the council using 60% of the residents, I believe, via frontage. And they petitioned the council for improvements to that street to be made. The city engineer in my office then would put together an estimate of what the cost for that work would be, and it would be placed as an assessment on the property taxes over a period of 10 to 15 years. Right now, I think that we have, I believe, 2 or 3 assessments still on the books that receipts taxes still has, but we have not gone that route in several years. And we have decided to stop doing sidewalks because it became so cumbersome. The thought was to possibly reestablish that as one means, because the money isn't there to just do sidewalks as part of the budget, but it was just a conversation of how we can address this issue, because there are several discussions that were there. I believe previously there was a talk about if we could just somehow split the labor and the material costs, because the city does sidewalk programs. And then I believe some of the issues that came up with that were, if you had one sidewalk that was done, the adjacent sidewalks could be issues in how you would make the transition, given that sometimes there is a driveway, sometimes there isn't a driveway, and that you wouldn't see as big of an economy of scale as some of us are thinking, because you are mobilizing several times to jump around the neighborhood. I'm sure there'd be some sort of a savings if you did it in a bundled package, but it wouldn't be similar to what you see when we do an entire block, where you have one crew operating for, you know, an entire week to get something done. But there's several options out there. The city of Ithaca has assessment districts. I've been working with them to try to find out what there are. It's just, I didn't know we would actually have this discussion until today, so I was kind of coming just to hear what you guys wanted to discuss. But it is what's the biggest elephant in the room that I have. It's one of the slides that I talk about when I have my paving presentation, is that sidewalks continue to be a hot button topic. So, I mean, we deal with it every day. I deal with it every day with residents. You have residents that complain that they want to put asphalt back. It was asphalt. They just did a small cut. Why should they have to put concrete back? Can't they just replace with asphalt? And, you know, our code states that when you do a repair to a sidewalk, it's 6 inches of concrete. And that, you know, that's what I uphold, is to put back the sidewalk to code. But like we've talked about before, you know, that's why I make every effort to maintain my macadam sidewalk in the best condition possible, because it is a significant investment to make that replacement. Yeah.
So with the special assessment district, though, that cost would only fall on that neighborhood or that
particular
district,
street.
right?
It's a street.
But it does mean that the city would have to forward those funds.
Correct.
And then over a 10 to 15 year period, the neighborhood would pay the city back. So the city has to come up with that chunk of money up front for that particular program.
Any other questions?
I think we had discussed it last year about sharing the cost 50-50 in terms of the homeowner, and then put 50% on the tax. Is that something that we can consider?
I can't see
share
why
the cost?
we couldn't. That's a decision to be made between
putting
you and
50% on the tax roll for the taxpayer to pay. Mr. President.
I think that's lovely, but if we put it in perspective, the average sidewalk is going to cost $5,000 to $6,000, say. So half of that, let's say, is $3,000, right? So even if we do 100 homes, which isn't much, you know, you're looking at a significant, you know, so if we budget for, say, 1,000 homes, that's 1% tax increase. So what does that look like? And then who gets to decide whose sidewalks get done first? You know, I mean, those are the things that I think of, you know. That way, if you're setting it up that way, that means that the more affluent people can afford to have their sidewalk done, where the people who really need the assistance can afford to have their sidewalk done, and maybe the program isn't available to them. It's just, I'm really open. If we could get there, it's just like the water lateral program for me. I would love to have a water lateral program where we could defray some of these costs for our homeowners, because it scares the heck out of me, you know, that unexpected cost. At least you could see where your sidewalk's going bad, right? You could save some money, but I can't get to a fair thing in my mind. I can't, you know, and maybe these discussions once we have more money coming into
What we can also do is take the same approach we do in paving the streets. You look at the streets that are bad, look at the sidewalks on the street that's bad, and take that approach to doing the sidewalks.
one of the issues you're also going to see is if you do it where it's up to the resident. The thing about the special assessment, which was beneficial, is that while you needed 60%, which was a majority, you did have the 40%, let's say, that wasn't on board. The street, let's just call it the sidewalk corridor, was completed from corner to corner. When you hop around, there are several neighborhoods where if you did one particular home, the adjacent homes may have sidewalks that were in worse shape, but they chose not to do the program. So what are you really tackling with regards to accessibility? Because you may have a fully accessible, you know, what we would say compliant sidewalk as an island in between two non-accessible, because really it comes down to one of the things is it comes down to accessibility, and it comes down to, you know, is that sidewalk, you know, ADA accessible? Can you navigate on that sidewalk where you want to go? But most people think about it as they put it on themselves. Is this a liability? They don't think about what their neighbors are. It's themselves. You know, is my sidewalk a liability? I must fix it if it is. And they're not worried about, really what we should be worried about is, can I get from point A to point B? And I think that's where it really gets difficult, is that we want to make sure that people can get from point A to point B. And the homeowner wants to make sure that in getting to point A to point B, that nobody trips and falls at their location. So it's kind of, it's a multi-layered issue, and it's a great one that I'd love to talk about more, but I don't know, I mean, it's just, there's a lot to discuss with it.
Is this something we want to come back to?
I would.
Okay. So,
I mean, is it something that you guys have ideas, or I don't want to?
No, I think that we all have ideas, it's just whether they're viable ideas or not. Like, one of the things I would like to know is, can you take a proposed neighborhood and come back to us with the cost? You know, if it's $300,000 that the city's fronting, that's a huge consideration. Whether the homeowners are willing at 60% to take that cost on or not, we're spreading it over 10 to 15 years, but the city still has to come up with that money, and that puts it on the backs of all the taxpayers in the city. So how do you choose which neighborhood gets the assessed district? You know, I mean, to me, it's just, when you look at the fairness of all of the proposed programs, that's where I struggle. How do we make sure everybody has a fair shot? You know, and which assessed district would we possibly choose first? You know, so.
That's resident initiative.
Right.
Yeah.
Driven by the city.
I get it, but what if two neighborhoods came forward? Do you know what I mean? Like, so I guess, you know, again, the question comes to, well, you know, if it's $30,000, maybe it is doable to do several neighborhoods if they come forward, you know?
And it's not my position to really, I know my position is with the city, but this is, like I say, it's a very complicated issue to discuss. And what I make sure that I stress is that you don't want to also, the system needs to be uniform, because what you're going to have right now is you cannot have a system whereas neighbors, such as in my street, petition, we have it assessed on our property, and you have a group of people who decided collectively to pay, and then you have another block that decides not to pay, but we deem that it's in the best interest of the city if we do it on our own, and then we pay for that block. Because now you're going to start having a divide of, these residents decided to be proactive and pay. These residents didn't, but we decided to do it for them, and now we're going to pay. You're going to create a divide.
Yep.
And that's always been an issue as well. I mean, that was the issue with the CDBG money. We use CDBG money, the money is only applicable in certain neighborhoods. We did sidewalks in those neighborhoods. Residents in other neighborhoods said, why not my neighborhood? That money's not applicable. So we created a divide. We didn't think that that was fair, so we stopped doing that. We started just spreading the paving money out because it was more equitable to spread it out. These are all the topics that we've had conversations on, and that was why the thought was something like an assessment, if it was citywide, would be fair, but you have to stick with it, and sometimes it's just not possible. So I don't know if this is something that we could more discuss in like a task force, a separate kind of. This is just, you know, to discuss it in this kind of a forum, I think is a little difficult.
Mr. President.
May I suggest that maybe we put it on for a month or 6 weeks, and Mr. Wallen is able to do a little bit of research? Is that?
Well, does somebody from the council actually want to be involved in that, or is it something that you're looking to put on engineering?
Well, certainly we could. Yes.
This wasn't my call on the council agenda today. That's why I was just here because I saw.
Because concerns came to us from residents. And I don't know who else we turn to. We have to turn to engineering.
Sure, if that's what you want to do, if you want to deem me with, that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm following the right orders here.
That's right.
Chairman, the most cost-effective way to do sidewalks is in conjunction with street paving. And where one time we did sidewalks, curb, street surface, 4 years ago we moved away from that to catch up on the street surface. We're now catching up on the street surface, and I believe that it's appropriate next year and years after that is to start to look to go back and do some of the streets with sidewalks and curbs. And you know, it's what's that formula? Do you look for some neighborhood participation? Do you look again? There's been a couple of times times where there's been proposals at the federal level for money that would come back to communities for infrastructure work, so that we would be able to do water, sewer, other things. And when we do that, a lot of times you have to do the sidewalks, the curbs, because you've dug up the bigger chunk of ground underneath and you have to rebuild it. So the discussion really should be probably as we're doing the paving program next year, and again, optimistic where the price of oil is still fairly low, so that the price of macadam will be low, that we're going to get another year of quite a bit of bang for whatever dollars are spent in the paving program. It's to, again, look at these options and at the same time look for other ways to leverage it. There's been talk, a lot of local governments have talked about asking the state for, again, infrastructure money, streets, water and sewer. The leadership in Albany has really not been very sympathetic to considering that, but it's, we all know things run in cycles, and sometimes what people aren't interested in this year, next year all of a sudden becomes a area of possibility. So that, again, in the price point, cheaper if you do it with the street work, because you've got everything mobilized, you're doing it all at once, and then it's how do we, again, leverage what dollars we spend to get the biggest impact and really cover the most surface, whether it's sidewalks, curbs, or street surface.
Mr. Wallen, do we have laborers in-house to do the work? I mean, there was talk about a 50-50 split. Homeowners buy the material, city provides the labor, but that would have to be outside labor to do this, or do we have mason?
We have a mason. We have a mason, but it's currently just not enough. We don't have the in-house workforce to be able to handle something like that.
Perform it all.
That would be, it would be through the paving program, like the mayor said. That would be what the program would go through.
But could that still be an option where a homeowner pays for the material?
We can look at those things. And again, it's how do you leverage those dollars?
Agenda, what, you say 6 weeks, something like that?
So we don't close down on it, we discuss it every once in a while. It's
Right.
just to say that we're responsive.
Very good.
Any other questions? No. Any other business to come before public service and utility?
Thank you.
Motion adjourned.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
All right, I call to order City Development and Planning. Item number 1, transferring 866 and 868 Eastern Avenue to the Land Bank.
So this is the final parcel to kind of come together for the Tribute Park project on Eastern Avenue for the land bank. So this is a transfer just from the city to the land bank with the intent that this fall into winter some soil is going to be put down to kind of prep the site for development in the spring.
Questions? Entertain a motion? Okay, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Review the Water Street abandonment. We had a public hearing we will have.
Yeah,
And that's, again, just another reminder that it's coming. Okay. Number 3, ceremonial resolution. Mr. Kosher, Stop America's Violence Everywhere.
Yep, thank you. This is in conjunction with the Schenectady City School District, and we're going to tie in SCCC, and we have a call to Union College as well. It's a national organization here, and they're trying to get some recognition in New York State. So we'll have kids here from Schenectady School District, and again, SCCC, and we're reaching out to Union as well.
Very good.
Okay.
Questions? Okay. Moved by Mr. Ferrari, second by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor? Aye. And our annual ceremonial resolution for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Okay, moved by Ms. Porterfield, second Mr. Ferrari. All in favor? Aye. Domestic Violence Awareness Month ceremonial resolution.
Yes, just again, recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we will also have a presentation from the YWCA. They have recently piloted a program for high-risk task force, and they've had some very significant results, so they'll be coming to talk to us about what that task force looks like and some of the positive outcomes that they've had. So, in addition to that, we've done a resolution.
Good. Okay, moved by Mr. Porterfield, second by Mr. Ferrari. All in favor? Aye. Ceremonial resolution honoring the Sons of Italy. Mr. Ricky?
It's their 100-year anniversary. It's going to be a good thing to do.
Yep.
I think it's kind of- Same with the second one. They're going to be here to accept both Italian and American Heritage Month. So we can roll them together and present them both.
Okay. Okay. Moved by Mr. Ferrari, second by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor?
Aye.
So did you move both of them?
Yes.
Okay, just to clarify. Schenectady is the place.
Anything special for the 100th anniversary of the street?
I gave it, I dropped it off. Chad has it.
Okay.
Quite a bit of background for the water department.
Okay. So, of course, we introduced the song, Schenectady is the Place, at our last meeting. And there was some discussion of naming it the official city song. Obviously, the questions that come up are the fact that we have an official city song. So is there a way to designate this as the second official city song? I don't know. I mean, I'd like to give it recognition. Obviously, Cliff Brucker and the students and everybody spent a lot of time creating it. Ms. Barrazo.
So in reading the ordinance from 1995, it names our Schenectady as the official song of Schenectady. So that was my first thing, I'm like, is to say an official song.
Right.
So I'm wondering, Corporation Council, if we can name it an official song of Schenectady? Does the like, inhibit us from naming another song, or?
It wouldn't. If the council wanted to have a second city song, you could do that. The wording of the old ordinance, the way I'd interpret that is at the time it was the only one. If you wanted to add one, then it would just become another one. There's no statewide regulation on the amount of city songs that a municipality can have. So I don't see it being an issue.
Do you feel as this is a highly contestable?
Well, I'm not involved myself.
So
Okay, so do we want to do that?
leave it up to legal to come up with a wording.
Okay, Ms. Porterfield?
I'd like to hear the first song. I didn't even know there was a song. Do we even know it? I mean,
Somebody told me it's on the website. Yes.
you can actually listen to it, or just like, because I wouldn't know the melody.
Judy Merriam sang it at the council meeting when, I think I was on the council when we adopted that.
I was in the audience, I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's on our website.
Yeah.
Under history, it is there with the lyrics. They're two completely different songs.
Yeah.
They're not even close. One's like an operetta kind of thing, and the other's a jingle.
We can make this the official jingle.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, if the law department would come up with something appropriate,
You can draft something that would meet the requirements of the council.
what?
1900s and this is 2000s, once every 100 years.
There you go.
For the millennium.
So anyway, I'll entertain a motion then to move forward with that. Okay, Mr. Ferrari, second by Ms. Porterfield. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, at this point then, I'll entertain a motion to recess city development and planning till we get into the property sales.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We're pulling both of the claims items, so, right, correct?
That's correct.
Both of them?
So, yeah,
Oh, okay.
so no sense calling it order, right?
No, right. Okay, then I will reconvene city development and planning and entertain a motion to go into executive session. Okay, moved, seconded, all in favor? Aye.